So tell us a bit about your book, Maths for Mums and Dads.
Ah, well, there's a story. Because although I called it Maths for Mums and Dads, when I got in touch with the publishers, they had just published, they had a parent series, and they had just published Grammar for Parents, Reading for Parents, and they wanted my book, but they wanted to rename it Maths for Parents to fit in with their series. And actually, you know, what was interesting is they could tell from their sales reps and from their market research that something had to be done about the maths. The parents wanted to know more. And they actually told me some of the things their research told them parents wanted to know more about, and asked me to double the length of my book, which is what I did. They then went on, and Piccadilly asked me and my husband to write the next book, which was Information Technology for Parents. So we have those two. And actually, in the meantime, my fashion business came to an end. I had been encouraged to do, it's a bit of a story here. The book, I asked my publishers to send it to the contacts I'd had at Exeter University, which was Dr. Bob Byrne and Professor David Burgess. And Bob wrote back to me saying he hoped the book did very well, and there was at least an MPhil thesis waiting to be written, and was I going to do it? So there, I was invited to do the research, which eventually ended up with me getting a PhD from the University of Bristol. My supervisor then was Professor Martin Hughes, and Martin moved from Exeter to Bristol. And in the meantime, my fashion business had come to an end. I had gone back into teaching, and I, during my research, kept up part-time work, obviously teaching. And then after I was awarded the doctorate, I kept on part-time teaching as well as my research and writing. And it was then that I was commissioned by Continuum Press, who are now part of Bloomsbury, to write Help Your Child with Numeracy, which is age 3 to 7. Goes more into the teaching of maths and how parents can help, and the Help Your Child with Numeracy 7 to 11. And although in all those books I mention, and it's so important, the emotional side of how parents can help, and the importance of the parental role and their interest, their love, their support of the children, it is always mentioned in the books. I've come to realize more and more over the years how important this is, and that really needs to be much more focused on. And so my latest book, which is Help Your Child Do Maths Even If You Don't, focuses on that 10 things that any parents can do to help their child with maths, and actually without doing any maths.
Could you give us some examples from the book of some of your great experiences with parents?
Yes, of course. Actually, I will talk a bit more about this maybe later on, Rob, but I do author talks, and in one of my author talks, I was mentioning what are one of these 10 things that any parents can do to help their child with maths. And one of the things is actually passing on a positive attitude. You know, in 2014, the Welsh Government took out a huge advertising campaign which was actually encouraging parents not to speak negatively about maths to their children. And this, I was told by people who live there or were travelling there at the time, it was even on petrol pumps and things like that. Don't be positive. And I was talking about this in one of my talks, and there was a lady there, and she said, oh, something has just clicked. When she was a young girl, her mother was very scared of spiders and used to scream and scream and scream, and passed on this fear of spiders to her. And she was absolutely determined not to pass this on to her son. And as she sat there, she just suddenly realized, I could do the same with maths. Just, and because I encourage people, don't be negative. If you start saying things like, I was useless at maths, I was never any good, you're passing on this negativity. Bite your tongue back. It's one of the 10 very simple things that you can do, which actually is mentioned in the book. And there is a diagram in there, which of of a spider, which is a rather unusual one. Just don't pass on negative
Yeah.
attitude.
Thank you. And so any more projects in the pipeline for the future?
Well, yes. Well, where do I start? I've mentioned the author talks. A few years ago, I live in Dorset, and I was contacted by the library service in Dorset, and it was Libraries Week, and they wanted to celebrate local authors, so they invited me to come and do an author talk. So this was my first author talk in a library, and in fact, that went down very well. It was very popular, and I then actually did more author talks in libraries. Libraries were a place I think parents felt they could come, and it was sort of neutral ground. And so with lockdown, I have done Zoom author talks. And so that means I can reach a wider audience. So there's the author talks, but the other thing that's really exciting is, along with Sue Johnson Wilder, the book, Help a Child Do Maths Even If You Don't, has been translated into Welsh. So we've now got the bilingual Welsh English version. So Welsh speaking parents can now have got support. And there are, I understand from Sue as well, that this idea of mathematical resilience is really growing in South America. So the first steps towards the book being translated into Spanish have been made, and there's also the possibility of Portuguese.
Wow.
And there may be other languages as well in the pipeline.
I think that's great. The fact that we're reaching out across boundaries in different countries is really important. Yes,
and the fact that actually parents, this idea of parents getting involved is really internationally recognized. The other thing that's happening is I gave an author talk to some school leaders in the Warwickshire, Coventry and Solihull area. And now in a few weeks' time, on 17th of November, actually, the schools there have sent out invitation, certainly in the Solihull area, and it's going into the Coventry and Warwickshire area, invitation to their parents to one of my author talks. So that's happening as well. So that the invitations through schools to have a Zoom author talk. So yes, so that's what's going on at the moment.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time today. And we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Thank you so much, Rob. And I really hope this Maths Anxiety Awareness Day is going to be a great success and help many people.
Thank you very much.